That should work. Okay, now you should be able to hear me. Okay, yeah, welcome to the first episode of JagaVision, bringing you to the tea bar. We're going to be bringing on some guests. Today we're going to have Sister Speak on, and we're going to be drinking Tulsi and Ashwagandha together. So, should be good times. But first off, just a big thank you to everybody. The fact that we're still around is because of you. It's been a really interesting time dealing with COVID-19 and the effects that it's had on everybody, not just economically, but also cerebrally, mentally. So I thought it would be a good idea we thought it would be a good idea to bring the tea bar to you. So welcome. Haven't seen a lot of you in a really long time. Hopefully you're watching this live on our YouTube stream. If not, hopefully you'll watch our next episode. So we're going to be doing these episodes every Thursday at 1 o'clock and see how it goes. Before we start, Sister Speak Music has a live stream where you can watch her do her afternoon show from 12 until 1. Follow her on her Patreon and check things out there. You can also just check them out on Instagram, etc. Okay, let's see if I can't get Sister Speak on the phone. Let's see. There we are. Calling. See if we can't make this happen. Calling Cheyenne. Hello, hello. That's didn't work out. Let's see what's going on there, but okay, that's too bad. We'll try again in a little bit. Anyway, this is our Tulsi and Ashwagandha. So it's a new herbal. We've been video call from Cheyenne. Okay. Alright, let's see if I can't make this happen. Hello? Hey, just tried calling you. Can I try calling you again? And you... Okay. Are you...
I don't have the scale and stuff.
You don't have the scale and stuff. Okay. Alright. Do you want to go grab it? And then we can figure it out in maybe like 15 minutes?
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, awesome. Alright, call you in a bit. Bye.
I gotta just go downstairs and get it ready.
Okay, just text me when you're able to talk, okay?
Okay. I'll be down ready to...
Oops. Okay, and my phone's acting all weird too. Okay. Well then, before we get into the Tulsi and Ashwagandha, why don't we start with a sample that I got of a 2020 Old Bush Yunnan black tea. Should be interesting. So this is first time opening it. Smells pretty good. Look at that nice, very nice malt. Kind of an apricot. I don't know if you can see that. But really nice looking leaves. Lots of golden bud. Yeah. Smells really good. I've been really enjoying making my tea in this beautiful kyusu. It's a tokonomiyaki, so it would be from the Maiji. I want to start bringing these in. They're just too gorgeous. So, as a general rule of thumb, when I'm cupping a crimson tea, I like to work with 100 degrees centigrade water. I'll start with a 3 gram to 180 milliliter, ideally weighed on a scale, so 180 grams, 100 degrees centigrade, and we kind of take it from there. Got 100 degrees here. Looks like I have 3.6 grams. I'll just top that up a little bit. Then I'm gonna make 8 ounces, so I'll do 4 grams for 240. Same ratio. Yeah, the visual on this is quite nice. It's looking like pretty well formed leaves. Set our timer for 3.5 minutes. You want to press go the moment the water hits the tea. You don't want it to go too much past 240. Ideally, I like to be a little under rather than a little over, but I like to give myself a good 5 grams of air. And we'll take it from there. So, as a general rule, I like to always preheat my brewer, but I don't necessarily preheat my decanter. And the reason for that is I want it to be closer to a pleasant drinking temperature sooner rather than later. But having a piping hot brewing vessel is going to help with accurate brewing temperatures. So, with a crimson tea that's this deeply withered, I'm definitely going to go for the 100 degrees centigrade. I could be wrong. I could have gone with a Gong Fu style preparation, but I'm sort of mashing a whole bunch of different preparation techniques. So I'm working with the Japanese kyusu just because I like it. You could say that there are other brewers that are more ideal for brewing a crimson tea with, and you probably wouldn't be wrong. But I'm enjoying all my teas in this kyusu right now. So I'm going to work with 100 degrees centigrade water again because it's so deeply withered. Quick note is that when I say crimson tea, I'm talking about what in North America we call black tea. But at origin in China and Japan and Taiwan, they use the character for crimson or red when they're describing this genre of tea because the black tea genre already existed. The English renamed crimson tea into black tea, even though there already was a genre called black tea. So you can thank the English for the confusion. But when you're on our website and you're checking stuff out and you see crimson tea, you're really looking at what is more commonly referred to as black tea in North America. So this particular selection is from Yunnan. I don't really have much information on it right now. That's something that I'd have to talk to the farmer about. I know it's an old bush, so what that means in terms of varietal, I'm not sure. It could be a seed-grown tree. If it's seed-grown, then there wouldn't be a whole lot of cultivar information because each seed, of course, is unique to each tree. Put that in perspective in apples, if you want to grow like a Gala or Red Delicious, if you want to repeat that genetic flavor structure, you're going to need to graft, or you're going to have to graft those limbs onto a rootstock. With tea, you want to clip the top off of the tea bush and you want to plug it into the ground if you want to have a clonal or genetic homogeneity. Whereas if you grow from seed, you're going to get a very different flavor. You'll get a very unique flavor. So I'm expecting something fairly unique here. We'll see how this goes. Root structure is going to be a lot deeper, a lot stronger, arguably give you a little bit more complex flavors when you're dealing with seed stock. So I do like both. I know that it's a lot easier to work with clonals because you know what to expect. Okay. So this is a Yunnan 2020 harvest, deeply withered crimson. Okay, smells like chestnut, honey. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, there's some really nice notes of almost chocolate. Somewhat citrusy, kind of like a chocolate orange. Yeah, that's really good. I didn't know what to expect. The price on this was quite low, so I was honestly a little bit concerned that I would be looking at an unpleasant tea or something quite two-dimensional. This is definitely not that. It's nice sometimes when you get well, it's always nice if you get a low-price tea that tastes really good. It's not common. Generally, if you have a tea that tastes amazing, it's generally going to cost you. I mean, a lot of this is going to be, how it cools, and it's nicer if you can drink them in context, but it is a nice treat to just drink a tea like this on its own, straight up, and see what it has to say. Yeah. And of course, those brewing parameters that we commonly use aren't always the brewing parameters that are the best for that particular tea. This is especially true when it comes to seed varieties. Yeah, it's quite nice. Normally, if you find that the tea is a little bit dry. Maybe you've over extracted a little bit. You could cool temperature down 10 degrees and experiment. You could drop back your brewing time. You could lower your dose. There's all sorts of different things that you can do to adjust. But I think that it's fair to point out just how important it is to have the equipment that I have in front of me here as part of your repertoire. Having a scale so you can accurately dose, and having a scale so that you can not only accurately dose your tea but also measure your water, because 1 milliliter essentially weighs 1 gram for our purposes. It's slightly different mass as the heat or as the temperature changes, but it's for our purposes we can say 1 gram equals 1 milliliter, vice versa. So I like to weigh, and then I like to always have a timer. So it's those 4 variables, or you could say 3, because the ratio of tea mass to milliliters is kind of its own variable. And then you want to have the temperature under control, and you want the extraction time. So I've been really enjoying this fellow cat. You can get them on 8-ounce coffee if you like. You can like 8ouncecoffee.com is where I recommend getting them. And then a timer, 10-digit timers are nice. That's lovely. Let's see. I have hopefully you can see me okay. If somebody wants to actually, if they're joined in and they wanna say something on the chat, that would be lovely. Just so I can make sure that I'm actually pulling off a show right now. See if I can't sister speak in now. Come back to this tea as it cools a little bit later. Okay. Let's see what I can do. definitely an issue with her hearing me. I think, because I'm not hearing any sound. Can you hear me? Do you have volume? I can't hear you. Can you speak? Interesting. Hello?
I'm here.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, I can hear you now too. Okay. I think our audience can hear you. Hold on one sec.
Oh, cool. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
That's something I'm going to work out for next time. I'm sorry. This time looks like we'll have to deal with that. Hold on one sec, okay? Just going to add you to the. Sorry?
I have my scale.
You have your scale? Excellent. Okay.
I have my tea over. I don't have the kettle.
You don't have the temperature variable kettle? Okay.
So,
Do you want to turn your phone sideways?
sure.
Awesome. Okay, lovely. And we should be able to bring you on. And hold on.
Actually, hold on. Let me get back up.
Okay. Let's bring you on. There you are. Okay. You are on.
Oh, no. If I go sideways, cuts off the pin.
Just need to back it up a little bit. Okay. So essentially what I'm doing is I have, I'm working with the same jar as you. Are you working, what are you brewing in?
Oh, the brewing jar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's shucks. I'm sorry.
It's all good. Okay, so, you know what? Do you want me to call you back in just a little bit and you can just grab the brewing jar and... Do you want to put it back up the way you had it then so you can see better? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's cool. All right. So anyway, everybody, this is Sister Speak, Sherry Ann. She just finished her performance live on her show. You can find it on her Patreon. Go to patreon.com, look up Sister Speak. For my show, if you're watching right now, we're on YouTube Live. You can find us right now just by searching for JagaSilk in your YouTube and clicking on our logo, and then you can watch us live. Today we're going to be enjoying the Tulsi and Ashwagandha that we were discussing on her show a little bit earlier. Sharon's show, or Sister Speak's show, is on every Thursday at 12, and we're going to be trying again to do this live stream on our YouTube channel every Thursday at 1 following her show. Okay, so... Can you boil your water?
Yes, it's boiled.
It's boiled? Okay. So we're gonna, in a perfect world, you would have access to a temperature variable kettle, but not all of us have that, so this is probably a great opportunity to just show you how to achieve accurate temperatures. It is really hard to wing it on volume and on the amount of tea. So when you're working with the tea, what you should do is you should preheat your brewer, have your water boiling. Speak again. It just boiled. Okay. So when it's finished boiling, then you wanna. Do you have a decanter you can use? Or like a teapot? Do you have a little teapot or cup even? I see a cup in view there. Does that?
I have a mixer right now.
Lovely. Okay, so you're going to be brewing in that, but when you're finished brewing, one of the things you're trying to control is how long it steeps for. So you can set that on. Most people know how to access the timer on their cell phone. but you're using your cell phone right now to talk to me, probably. So, but is there anybody around you, or if you can, keep your 2 meter distance and have them toss you a phone, and you can sanitize? Okay, excellent, lovely. Do you want to grab then a timer that way, and then set a timer for the Tulsi and Ashwagandha calls for 4 minutes.
Okay, can I go grab that right now?
Yeah. So what you're gonna need water that's fresh boiled. You're gonna need a timer. You're gonna need that scale, and then we'll be good to rock and roll. Okay? I know, of course, a brewer and a cup.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so Sister Speak will be back in just a moment. Thank you for your patience. This Tulsi and Ashwagandha we actually released quite recently. For quite a long time, our calming herbal was our anise hyssop, and it was our anise hyssop and kava, which is quite exciting and interesting for us. But it took us some time to develop this Tulsi and Ashwagandha. Tulsi and Ashwagandha are used widely in Ayurvedic medicine. The Tulsi in particular is really good for helping with intestinal issues. If you have problems with digestion, they have traditionally used it for treating people that have irritable bowel syndrome. Again, this is traditional medicine. I want to be clear that we're not talking about pharmaceutical medicine. And the ashwagandha as well as the tulsi are really good for calming anxiety, and so it seemed appropriate to start a first episode. Even though we're mostly a matcha specialty company, we are also really into Camellia sinensis. It might be worth it to note that we started this company because of our fascination with herbal teas and the herbal, sort of the healing power of plants. So this is a particularly special blend for us. Ashwagandha is an adaptogen. It's going to really help level out your system. It's going to be really good for, again, anxiety and stress. It's also good for if you are having trouble sleeping because you've used up too much of your adrenals, then it's going to help re-empower you a little bit there. It's also good for helping you sleep a little bit nicer and getting back into good sleep cycles. Welcome back. You found everything?
I got it.
Excellent.
I got this instead.
Lovely. Okay. What is this?
It's a little tea brewer.
As your sieve. Okay, awesome. So what you're going to do is, so I always recommend to people that when they're brewing, why we use the jars for brewing is because jars are really, this is actually one of my favorite teapots ever is this. Look at that beautiful thing. You sound okay?
It's the metal, right?
This is beautiful clay teapot from Japan called a kyusu. And what we always say is brew in either glass or in clay, or ceramic, sorry. So essentially that jar is going to be what you're going to use to brew in, and then the other cup you have there, you're going to pour out of the jar into the cup through that sieve. So you're just going to use that sieve as a strainer, okay?
Perfect.
Okay.
That's a little contact metal.
That's right. Yeah, if you're just pouring through the sieve momentarily, it shouldn't. I don't know. To each their own. Each has their own ethics. Some people are pretty hardcore about whether or not they want to have metal touch it at all. They get into strainers that are made out of bamboo. They really, or in traditional Chinese teas, the leaves are quite. You have some styles of tea, that are quite large. And hold on. You have styles of teas that are quite large, and they're made in something called a gaiwan. Have you ever seen a gaiwan?
Taiwan.
Yeah. So here,
No, I haven't.
gaiwan. Looks like this. It's like a glorified cup. It just has a lid on it.
I think on my computer, you can call it the same color.
Yeah, you just brew. You put your tea in here. You put the appropriate amount of water, and then once you're done brewing, you would kind of
hold the lid back a bit and keep the leaves in, and that's how you'd strain it out. So the leaves, you can have a lot of sediment, otherwise the process doesn't work.
Okay.
But anyways, that's a very traditional way of making tea in China. When you're cupping your teas, it's what's kind of nice is once you've finished brewing with it, you can flip it, and you can have the leaves on display so that you can then check out the quality of the leaves that you were working with. It's kind of interesting. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to put, you can put your jar, actually you don't have a little plate, so let's just work with what you got there. So you can put your jar on your scale.
Yeah.
Okay. And you want to tare your scale. Make sure that you're using the 1 gram measurement. Ideally your scale is going to be at least 0.1 grams. You have an AWS scale there?
I don't know, but it said 0.0.
Lovely. Yeah. So that kind of level of a resolution, you know, the word resolution from printers and video and all that. It's also used in scales for describing the decimal points of or the fineness of your scale. So a 1 gram scale isn't going to work so good, but this 0.1 gram scale that you have there and that I have here is perfect.
Oh, yeah, it's a 0.1 gram scale, that's what it says.
So you're gonna empty in 4 grams of tea. I like to use another, like a plate.
How do I keep my thing on here and I press top?
You put your jar on the scale. You press tare.
Yes.
Or 0 or whatever, and it zeros, and then you're gonna put 4 grams of tea in.
Okay. It doesn't seem to be moving. Yeah, maybe my...
Is it moving now?
No.
Take it off the scale.
Maybe wrong.
Are you on grams?
Unit.
Interesting. Okay.
Let me turn it off.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Okay, now I'm on grams.
You're on grams, and you have to take the tea out, I guess, now.
I did. I already took it out. I put it in the cup.
Okay, excellent. And now you can put it back in, and hopefully it measures. Is it working now?
Yes.
Lovely. Okay, so 4 grams. So people often ask us, you know, what is that in teaspoons, etc. But it's good to know that you can see from this, the material that you're working with, that there's going to be a lot of gaps if you were to put it into a teaspoon. You would not have accuracy at all. So if we're drinking tea for medicinal reasons, or if we're drinking tea for flavor reasons, which I think encompasses most of the reason why we'd be drinking tea in the first place, having a really clear understanding of dose is really important. So how much you're consuming in terms of that medicinal impact. Does that make sense?
Yes. Can you see that it says 4 grams?
No, it doesn't show on the camera. It just showed the top of the jar there.
Oh.
Oh, there. Yeah, we can see that. Okay, lovely. 4.0 grams. So you don't want to drive yourself crazy. So in the future, if you're within 0.1 gram of error, you should be okay. So if it was anywhere from 3.9 to 4.1, that's, think in percentages, that should be okay, right? So
Yeah.
from there, you have boiling water, right?
Yes.
Can you reboil it, or like where are you at with that? Is it?
I just boiled it because it's been boiling for about 5 minutes.
Sorry, can you say that again?
I just boiled it like about 5 minutes ago.
Okay. Okay, so what you want to do is, in a perfect world, you would like come right off of the boil, and then what you would do is you would put it into a decanter, or in this situation, it's going to be the cup that you're going to pour the tea into, and that would cool it down. But because it's been cooling for 5 minutes, you don't need to do that. Instead, what I want you to do is I want you to put the jar back on the scale. If it's already on there, then just keep it on there. And then I want you to add 240 grams of water.
Okay. So, 244 kilo, right?
Okay.
50. So good.
There you go.
200.
And 40. And for, again, think... Anywhere from 235 to 245. So give yourself 5 grams of air for water volume.
Okay. I got 225.
Excellent. Okay. So then I set my timer, and I should have told you to as well. But we were pouring at the same time, so you should be okay. I'm at 3 minutes and 19 seconds already. But why don't you set your timer for 3 minutes? It'll take you a moment to do so, and you'll probably be right in.
Okay.
Set?
Yep.
Okay, then go. Okay, awesome. So we're just gonna wait, and then I find that if I were working the bar, then this is a great time for me to go and grab cups or like prepare for the tea service or what have you, right? Or if I'm at home, I start this process and then I get out cups and I maybe put out a little sweet or something. Like there's lots of opportunity here while it's brewing to be doing all these things. But since we're on the air and we're brewing together, it might be a good chance to just smell how heavenly it smells as it's brewing.
Yeah, it smells good.
Doesn't it smell almost like, I don't know, there's this interesting like licorice vanilla smell that I get off of it.
Yeah, it's like mystical.
Mystical. Okay, there you go. But I like smelling for stuff like that maybe I've smelled in other areas. Like there's kind of like a nettle or a, yeah, it's a really interesting. And then you were just,
It reminds me of Big Island.
sorry?
It reminds me of Big Island. And then
Yeah, nice. Cool.
getting stoned.
Right. Well, where are we? We were just talking about Tulsi and Ashwagandha earlier in this show, and we were also talking about it when I was on your show.
Yeah.
Do you you said you've been drinking this tea? You want to talk a little bit about perhaps what it's been doing for you?
Oh yeah. When I came back to California, I tried like 22 hours straight. It was pretty tough. So I started drinking it every day when I got home, and I feel really good. Helped me calm down and relax. And I've been healthy. I've been healthy full time through this, so I'm gonna hope to stay healthy. We'll see. And I really do feel the calmness of it. I had some last night as well, and when I feel anxious, it helps me a lot. And I've been getting really good sleeps too.
Nice, and it should help with like if you have an upset stomach too. It'll help with that too. So that's kind of nice.
I didn't know that, and I have had an upset stomach like every once in a while, so that's really awesome.
Yeah. No, I think it's I was telling the people watching that we are mostly a matcha specialty company, but that it was the healing power of plants that really got us into bringing in tea in general. Like it was the healthful component of matcha that got us really excited, and that before getting really psyched about matcha, Mew and I were really into and still continue to be into herbal tea and herbal healing, and its ability to really do profound things for nervous systems. When it's done brewing, you pour through your sieve into, ideally, your decanter, but in your case, you can just pour it right into that cup through the strainer.
Okay, the big cup here.
Yeah. And for those who are brewing this at home, make sure that your decanter is bigger than your brewer. Because things can go sideways pretty fast if you're not careful. So a good method is to just use exactly the same size decanter as brewer. In this case, I'm brewing from a jar into a jar. But Sister Speak here is using a cup that I think we both felt pretty good about, that it was going to allow for that 240 milliliter threshold. Is it pretty full?
It's about a little more than half full.
Okay. So that's a big cup that you worked with. Good.
Great.
So when you had a brew that you put together just randomly, just regular old school style of making tea, and I'm actually really interested. Take a sip. Let me know what you think of following the brewing parameters that we suggest, and what that might have done for your experience, or for the flavor experience.
This is nice, really nice.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I'm gonna do it like this now.
well, see, what's nice, I think, about brewing this way, and whenever we're dialing in a tea, and we're always, trying to dial in a tea as carefully as we can, is there's a texture to it, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is the aromatic. I think oftentimes if we're just kind of winging an old school, tea can end up being this just, and it's very hydrating, but it can be this lightly flavored hot water.
Yeah,
Right.
this is much better than how I make it usually.
Well, I'm not trying to knock how you normally make it. I'm just saying that this is a way to get texture and to get a finish, and to and also it's a way for us to share the same flavor. So the way you're making it could be stronger even than what we're doing here. It could be weaker. It could be that your brewing time is quite a bit different. So you're drawing out different flavor compounds than we're drawing out here. So it's not that the way you normally make it might be bad. It will, though, definitely be different than how we're making it right now, right?
Yeah.
So this is...
Well, I think
Sorry? Go ahead.
what has a little more of the liquidy kind of sweetness to it.
Yeah, okay, cool. And I that's what draws me to this tea, is that licoricey sweetness. And I find that I also, whenever I'm trying to brew a tea, I really want that nice texture. So we always want to have like a flavor, like a nice nose to it, right? Then when it hits the tongue, you have that initial flavor. It rolls over your tongue, and then you have this really nice finish. And then we talk about something called the fourth pulse. So when you're done, once you've swallowed the tea, you wait a moment, and then a waft of flavor kind of waves over your tongue, and then we know that we've really dialed in that tea. Interesting, hey? And then there is, and I like to not be afraid of bitters either. There's definitely a bitter component to this, but I think it's balanced out really nicely with the sweetness, no?
What is the sweetness?
Where's the sweetness from?
Yeah.
It's from the Tulsi. The Tulsi is the one that we're working with is a nice sweet component. We're working with a farm actually in Oregon for both of these herbs. So it's fairly local to us here in Victoria, just really a hop, skip, and a jump, and really to where you are in Vernon as well. It's not terribly far, right? So, yeah, no, it's
Yeah, pretty close. We're getting
Speak again?
It's all pretty close. It's a corridor.
Yeah, right. So. Yeah, and I know you were talking about perhaps having something a little bit caffeinated today, and we'll definitely do that next week. Next week I'm hoping to bring on another guest as well, so we'll be drinking tea together with a guest from Calgary. We're hoping to drink tea with one of the owners of Monogram Coffee. His name's Jeremy Ho, and we're going to be drinking that Senja Zaidaishu, so that should be exciting. And for people watching right now, if they go onto our website and they plug in the coupon code SISTERSPEAK, you can get 10% off of the Tulsi and Ashwagandha tea.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it works, hey?
Hey, you can check out the new Tulsi and Ashwagandha magazine.
Yeah. Say the name one more time. Allen and Houston. So Allen and Houston magazine put out a really interesting mag on the 1st of April. So yesterday it came out. In it, they were talking about a number of things, but one of the themes was discussing how different small businesses are dealing with the COVID-19 crisis. And Sherry Ann from Sister Speak got to write an article. I had the good fortune to be able to participate as well through her introduction. And we were able to participate in this. Magazine's beautiful. Highly encourage you to look them up, Allen and Houston, and check out the April 1st articles that were released. There's you can get the hard copy if you like. You can also check them out online. But it's some interesting ideas and thoughts about how to cope with the crisis that we're going through right now. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Sister Speak. Did you have anything else you wanted to add before we end our session together?
No, I have one thing. That legacy, the crazy thing is we usually play at a place called Rock Music, and it's right near Ellen House.
Hmm.
I know it sounds weird. I was considered used to, but it's I think that's actually St. Ellen.
Oh, Houston.
So and there's also I think a home something near there too.
Very cool. Okay. Awesome. Then yeah, we'll really encourage people to go check it out and actually, to tell you the truth, I didn't quite hear what you said. I'm gonna try and turn you up. Hold on one sec. Okay, try that again.
I was gonna say when we play shows out in New York, we usually play at a place right near Allen and Houston. It's actually an intersection.
Okay. Okay.
And yeah, and that's cool. And blessings to the New Yorkers.
Yes, blessings to the New Yorkers. There's some really tough stories coming out of the United States, and definitely hearts are with all the people that are going through. I mean, we're sharing in a pandemic, but the scale of what's happening in New York is quite difficult to see for sure.
Yeah.
But hopefully.
That's correct, like you love your TL.
Awesome. Well, thanks for
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on the show, and on our episode 1 of JagaVision. So if you look up JagaVision, this is episode 1. Sister Speak and I drinking Tulsi and Ashwagandha. Thanks for coming on the show.
Blessings.
Okay.
Yep.
Bye.
Amazing. Bye.
Okay. So yeah, big thank you to Sister Speak for being on the show. Really interesting to go through the process of making the tea with her. I'm hoping to do that every episode. We can be making some tea together and talking a little bit about what's going on in the world. Really, one of the hopes for the sessions, these shows that we're doing, is to have a little bit of a chance to drink tea together. So next week we're going to be doing the Sencha Zai Aishu. I'll make sure that gets up on the webpage today. I encourage you to grab it. If you put in, oh, hello, Sherry-Ann. If you put in Health 2020, you should be able to get 10% off our teas. And looking forward to having you guys try out the Sencha Zai Aishu together next week. We'll have Sister Speak back on the program. We'll also have, we believe, Jeremy Ho from Monogram Coffee coming on and drinking tea with us, and looking forward to seeing that happen. Any questions that you have while we're brewing, you can go onto YouTube chat and you can ask them there, and we will look forward to seeing you again next week. We'll end with just one more sip of this crimson tea sample. Now that it's cooled, the sweetness, the sugars, a little bit more present, tasting more like a buckwheat honey, a little bit of oak. Yeah, it's lovely. Lovely tea. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a fantastic week, and we'll see you again next Thursday. And I'm sure there were some kinks. I imagine it was difficult to hear Sister speak, is what I realized kind of partway into it. So we'll work on that for next week, and hopefully the quality of the show will improve over time as we learn how to achieve better results in terms of visual and audio quality. But I hope that you can enjoy drinking tea with us nonetheless. Next week, Sencha Saidaishu, we'll have Sister Speak back on. Again, remember you can follow her on her Patreon account, and you can watch her shows. Don't forget, you can also donate to the stream, and by going on to our Streamlab, and then hopefully propel this forward even more. Looking forward to seeing you again next week. Oh, and thank you so much. Your tea is medicine for tours from Sister Speak. That's lovely. Okay, anyway, have a wonderful week, and take care.